I feel very called to become a member of the Catholic Church.
Love the Catholic Church. It's just the best place to be.
From the studios of EWTN, this is Open Line. In North America, call toll-free 1-800-585-9396. That's 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985. You can also send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
A tremendous post-Labor Day Tuesday to each and every one of you. Thanks so much for taking a little time out of your day to join us here on EWTN's Open Line Tuesday. We talk the life issues on Tuesdays. Our very own pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan, is in the house. The number is 1-800-585-9396. It's toll-free anywhere in North America, 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, your number is 1-205-271-2985, and we will put you straight to the front of the line at 1-205-271-2985. You can send us an email, openline@ewtn.com, or you can text your question to Barbara. She is a 21st century pro-life warrior. Text the letters EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response. Text your first name and your question, message, and data rates may apply. I'm Jack Williams. The lovely and talented Michael McCall produces the program. Your call screeners, Mr. Matt Gubensky, and Jeff Burson, nice person, is handling all of our social media endeavors. And our host, as she is every single Tuesday, except when she's not, Barbara McGuigan. Barbara, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing very well. How about you, Jack?
You know what? I'm doing okay, and they're... there are things in this life that I don't enjoy.
Oh,
there's one
okay.
thing. There's one thing that I don't do. There's one thing I won't do.
Is what?
I won't paint. I don't paint.
Oh, paint.
Not only do I, it's not that I don't paint. I won't paint.
Okay.
And the other thing I really don't like doing is moving. I'm not crazy about that at all, and I'm kind of, in a situation with, the changes in our family since my wife's passing that, I'm going to probably have to be moving soon, and I'm not looking forward to it, so I have tremendous empathy for you right now.
Oh, God love you then. Thank you so much for that. I want all the empathy I can get.
So can you see anything for boxes at this point, or
the only good thing about this packing business, because it's so expensive to have a moving company pack for you. Our movers, though, that I was recommended to go to, watches Mother Angelica's reruns.
Get out of here!
I am
funny.
Certain about that. And we had a hoedown. Our first conversation was 45 minutes. And so I had to cancel him once. And I hope I don't need to cancel him, but we'll find out whether we're moving on Friday. Today. So that's it. I'm very honest. But during the packing, I was able to watch all the coverage of the Houston catastrophe.
Boy, the best and worst of humanity comes out in those situations, doesn't it?
It's amazing to me, but let's talk about the best first. Did you see the miracle at Dunkirk? Did you see the movie?
I did see the movie. I'm more disappointed than most. I thought that the performances were outstanding and the effects and everything were outstanding. I just thought the story fell a little short. I didn't know that.
Well, they didn't show as many people that were actually rescuing.
Right.
They kind of focused on the one boat,
That's right.
with the young people. But once again, in the National Catholic Register, they had a great article by Peter Jesser Smith called Houston's Dunkirk Moment. So that really caught my eye. And just amazing how all these people, all in the same position here, they were all pretty much in Houston, at least anyway, having their houses underwater. I mean, when you saw that the
pictures
water...
were just
Oh, gosh. You know, a couple
Unbelievable.
times it moved me to tears. Really, I just could not believe what these souls were having to endure when you saw that the water was up to where the trees' leaves start, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just such a sad,
I can't even
sad
imagine.
thing.
I've had water in the basement a couple times where, a situation where it seeps up through cracks in the foundation and, gets the carpet wet and it has to be replaced. But
Yeah,
I can't
makes you
even
nuts.
I can't even imagine up to your waist, for crying out loud.
I know, and then how, I guess not the first couple days, but how that water gets toxic. And people are just walking around. Some of them have no shoes. Some of them have shoes on. And, E. coli's in the water now. And mold is in all the houses. If they breathe that stuff in, it can make them very, very sick. So, but I was just praising God because that's the way this worked, where all the people got their boats, even came from other states who, if they had a boat, right, and they could rescue. Right. I mean, this is the principle of subsidiarity that our popes talk about at its best. They weren't waiting for, they would have drowned if they had waited for government. Not that government wasn't doing all they could, right? But you needed everyone to help rescue each other. And this is what just impressed me so much. I couldn't get over it, Jack. I just couldn't get over it. I thought it was just amazing. And the article, Houston's Dunkirk Moment, was just really beautiful. And I saw the interview because, like I said, I was packing. And the little priest, a young priest who was kayaking into the flood so that he could offer Mass for those who were stranded by Hurricane Harvey. I mean, it was just too cute the way he was just hoping that he could stop and get. I think he had trouble finding wine. I think that was
right.
He was trying to buy wine for Mass, but he wasn't able to work that out. Maybe eventually.
I think he
could.
eventually did, but yeah, that was his initial hurdle for sure.
Yes, and then there's this Mattress Matt. He's Catholic too. Mattress Matt and all these. I mean, I was getting such a boost from this because I thought this is how we're raised. This is how we're taught. That if whomever is closest to the tragedy needs to help in some way, shape, or form.
Correct.
So he said right in the interview, I saw this firsthand too. He said, I was raised as a Catholic. I continued my Catholic faith throughout my life, trying to do the right thing, and hopefully you do the right thing and help people along the way. And he had, 24-foot trucks. They had, in all the flooded streets that could make it down the streets. And he opened up his mattress stores, and he had like 2 or 3 mattress stores, and put down some sort of I don't know if it was plastic or what, and all these people, let hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in to sleep here. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. And the miraculous statue. See, this has happened to me.
That hit a little close to home, didn't it?
It hit a nerve when my parents' home burned to the ground. 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We walked up there, and there were TV crews at my mom and dad's ranch because the Blessed Mother. Those. I know you've seen it. I've seen them in the yards there in Birmingham. But it has the white Blessed Mother with a big white shell around her, and the shell's kind of caressing her on either side, Yes. Mom had one of those right in the front, and all the walls came down. We just had smoldering embers, and there was the Blessed Mother with about a 3-foot wall behind her, and spotless. Nothing. There was all kinds of charred stuff all around her. Well, that's what happened in Hurricane Harvey. Not the fire, but the flood. They have a statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe with all the rays around her, and it was completely intact. When you see everything else around her is completely destroyed.
Right.
Destroyed.
Right.
So I mean, this is the sort of thing. The church is so wise, Jack. You know that.
No question. And this principle needs to continue, right? Because once the initial coverage is over, how many of us out of sight, out of mind, right?
It's so true. And so, what I hope today, and I know this is a lot to ask, these poor souls are still trying to clean up their houses, and if they can go back to it. I want to hear from Houston. I want to hear from those who rescued or those who needed to be rescued, or anyone that can call me from Houston or any of the surrounding areas that were covered in, what did they have, 50 inches or more of water? God love them. Oh, my goodness.
Well, you know what? Your prayers have already been answered. We're just getting started on an open line Tuesday. Right after this brief pause, we're going to talk to Francis, who's in Houston, Texas, and we've got plenty of time for your phone calls, too. If you know someone in Houston, if you're from Houston, or if you've been touched by the coverage that you've seen in Houston, give us a call, 1-800-585-9396, Open Line Tuesday.
Jerry Usher.
I'm really a revert. There are a lot of converts on Catholic radio, a lot of reverts, those who have come back to the faith. Well, I would describe myself as a revert, and ever since I came back to a practice of my faith, I started praying the rosary, going to even daily Mass, God has led me on an amazing journey and used me in a lot of incredible ways that I never dreamed would have been possible.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, Monday through Saturday, noon Eastern on EWTN Radio.
The EWTN Warriors Rosary is a fitting tribute to all the spiritual warriors who have stood by us over the years. Handcrafted, each rosary is a unique creation. Get yours today. Visit EWTNRC.com.
Dr. Ray Guarendi.
Which child do you love the most? What an unfair question. Most parents would say, I love them all equally. Or some parents would say, well, I feel warmer towards the child I get along with better. It's understandable. I submit to you, the child you love the most is the one that's most difficult. If you view love as a commitment, effort, sacrifice, then the one that is toughest to raise is the one that you reach out to the most, you sacrifice for the most, and you work hard to raise well the most. So it kind of puts it on its head, doesn't it? The one you love the most in terms of commitment is the one that at times is hardest to love.
Hi, this is Anna Mitchell, host of the Sunrise Morning Show.
This is John Martinoni, host of EWTN Open Line Monday.
Hi, this is Barbara McGuigan. Thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
We're talking about the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey here in the United States and all of the wonderful stories that have come out of this great tragedy. And talking about Holy Mother Church's wisdom and the principle of subsidiarity, that problems should be handled at the most local level possible. And I would encourage everybody to keep our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean in your prayers. Keep our brothers and sisters in Florida in your prayers as Hurricane Irma is bearing down on those places now. We pray for God's mercy for that whole situation with this next storm that's coming down the pike. We're going to go to Houston, Texas now. Francis has been gracious enough to call us from Houston. Francis, you're on with Barbara McGuigan. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Francis.
Hi, Barbara.
Oh, God love you. Are you okay?
Well, I'm fine. I'm very blessed. I did not flood, so.
Praise
but
God.
in my neighborhood, we have about 640 homes, and 57 did not flood.
Wow.
Oh,
so
boy. Wow.
My neighborhood was very, very hard hit, and we back up to the bayou, and the bayou catches a lot of our water in Houston, and with 51 inches of rain, it was already full and coming up into our neighborhood, and then the reservoirs, the dams, two major dams in Houston near us on the west side of Houston were at their limit. And so the city Harris County had to let the dams drain out. They called it a controlled release. So that really flooded our neighborhood. So a lot of, it's everywhere.
Yes.
So it's very, very upsetting. And even though I didn't flood, I'm still upset. And,
sure. Because all of your neighbors, possibly some of your friends, are some of your friends' houses underwater? Oh, my.
Completely. Still.
And water's such an awful thing to get into a house, isn't it? I mean, it wreaks so much havoc because it ruins everything, doesn't it?
Yes, and no one thought it would be this bad. I mean, it's never been this bad, ever. So we have I heard of one house that's near the bayou, and they just did a huge renovation, several $100,000 renovation. And it's all underwater. And I mean, I know that sounds rich, it is, but they still had to spend that money, and my understanding of the flood insurance is that it's FEMA, it's federal, so it's limited. So, so I'm not sure I'm right on that, so I'm not going to say anything. But just because you have flood insurance doesn't mean everything
is going
to be covered.
Oh, my goodness!
And we're talking, our neighborhood might be underwater for a couple more months because of this dam release, or reservoir release.
I watched all about that when they were concerned, right, that was going to burst or something was going to happen with the dam. Oh, my. And you're right by there?
I am. I'm in West
my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard one man say the dam has always protected us, but now it's caused us to flood, Thought that was very well said. But it's funny. Another problem is all of the north-south streets that go over the bayou, they're all flooded. And so all of us have to take the east-west street. And like I'm sitting in traffic. My elderly mother lives about 10 minutes from me, but with all this flooding, it's in traffic, it's taking me an hour to get to her apartment. Goodness. I have to go all the way around, so... you don't think about all that. I mean, anyway, it's kind of overwhelming if you think about recovering from this, but I don't think we just can't think that far ahead. We just have to look at today.
Well, how about your churches? I mean, in this little article, it was talking about different churches that are... Did you see the little priest who was going around in his kayak or anything like that?
No, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Well, so is your church underwater? Are you close by to where your church is?
No, our church is not underwater, and they were doing some parishioners helped organize help for people, and they're kind of, trying to be a central point where if you want to come in and do something, you tell them, and then they'll send you out, or So, our church is doing a wonderful job at that. Oh, here's the funeral guy. So, sorry.
My goodness. Oh, gosh. Well, listen, we are going to continue to pray for you, Frances, and for all of you. And, you never know how it happens that you were spared this trial, but you realize you still have the responsibility to help out all you can, I'm sure, huh? So,
yes.
God will use you powerfully in that way. So I'm sure.
Well, I hope He uses me as much as He uses you, Barbara, because you're one of my idols, and I love your shows, and I listen to you every week. It's a good
praise
fight.
God. Well, pray for me that I get to move, okay, Frances?
Okay.
I'm supposed to find out today. Okay. Well, God bless you, dear heart, and thank you so much for calling in today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye now.
We'll stay in Houston. Amal is in Houston, listening also on Sirius XM Channel 130. Amal, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hello, Amal.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
What can I say to you? How are you doing now?
Fine, thank you. We had to evacuate. We live in Houston, and we had to evacuate. We got back yesterday evening, and we still had no food in the house, so we had dinner out. But we went back yesterday. We left on a Monday and came back on a Monday. Let me just say thank you to EWTN, because my story is a very complex story. It's kind of scary, because when you think how God has saved me, I don't think I would have survived if I didn't get to EWTN a few months ago.
Yes.
And the text that one of your family members sent to me, Michelle Johnson, was what saved me, because when we left, when the officers came and started announcing we should leave, it was too late by then, because my husband wanted to stay. He wanted to stay till he had to, till we had to go. But it came so quickly because the water they were releasing then backed up. So we were not supposed to be in danger, but the water they released from the reservoir, the Barker Reservoir, backed up, and that was what was going to flood us. And so when they told us to leave, we had no hotels. About a dozen hotels turned us down south and north of I-10.
Yeah.
Because that was where we could go. We had nowhere. The other side of I-10 had been closed off. We couldn't continue on I-10 west. Yeah. And then going east, they said downtown was flooded. So we were stuck. We had 2 young kids, 5 and 8. And it was scary. My husband and I, we started to look at each other with a scare, that look, like, what are we going to do? It was pouring, Sure. And then I remember the text message that your Michelle Johnson sent me that morning, where she said, don't stop saying your rosary. Yes. And then I started to say the rosary, because we took 2 different cars.
Yeah.
And my husband put me on speaker the entire time. He wanted us to stay on the phone like that. And the kids were with him, and I was in the other car. We took the things we could take. And he said to me, my son was trying to say something, and I said, I'm saying the rosary. And I told my 8-year-old, do you remember, the mysteries we're on today? Do you know the mysteries, And then my husband said, just focus, just stop, and I knew what I was doing, but I kept remembering Michelle Johnson's message. And then we returned to a hotel that had turned us down before, and then they gave us a room.
The Blessed Mother. The Blessed Mother opened up that hotel for you, didn't she?
We could eat. They told us we could eat. We could do their happy hour, but that there was no room at that time. We should wait. And then after dinner, I went back to the reception, and they gave us a room. We were planning to sleep in their garage, like it was elevated. It was very scary. So I didn't get hurt as bad as people here. It's very heartbreaking when we see the news and the images and people that have lost their lives. But it's quite scary. I'm thinking it might happen again very soon. But
I hope not. I mean, they don't expect anything to happen very soon, right?
Yeah, but when they were tracing the one that has now gone, the Irma, whatever they call it, at the very beginning when they started to trace it, I thought, it might, just a fear. But I just keeping my faith now. Sure. And
what's traumatic? What you've been through is so traumatic. Your whole life has been turned upside down, has it not?
It's for those who have suffered more than we have. I cannot even imagine what they're going through, because we had our area flooded and the water got close to our window, but the whole area we couldn't enter was like an ocean. It was scary. They were using boats to rescue some of our neighbors, but to get out of the subdivision. But the ones that have that have water up to their chest, we met at the hotel. People who have lost everything with kids. Yes. It changes one's life forever. But something very quickly about Matthew Mack. That guy, when he first announced that he was opening 3 stores, this was at the very beginning of the flooding. I said to my husband, "This guy he's fearless. He's just something else." And I think God was speaking through him. I couldn't imagine anybody. Then it was after that others started to open their places up for shelter. I didn't even know he was Catholic. I just heard from him.
I know. Well, you didn't hear that on the news, Amal. You didn't hear that on the news at all, because they were really talking about him, and they even had footage of his mattresses with everyone lying on the mattresses and everything. So, yeah, he's a Catholic. This is the way Catholics respond. This is the way we're supposed to respond. You know what made me cry? Was did you know this Colette Sulcer, that the 41-year-old mom?
Yes. The daughter, she died drowning, and the daughter.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say to you. You were going to say yours. I was going to say which one made me cry. And I've been telling people, because I have kids, that just
she had a 3-year-old toddler.
In my memory.
she was her little 3-year-old toddler was hanging on her,
clinging on
and they
to
were
her.
just about to go through this trestle or whatever you call it, and if they had gotten underneath that, they couldn't have been saved. But here, all the while, the mom she drowned, and the baby, the 3-year-old, was hanging. Oh, my heart!
Can I just say this through your program? That
yes,
I just pray that people will start to believe that God is missing. That's why, sometimes we feel hopeless. But in our lives, the way we live our lives daily, God is still missing out of we're worshiping everything else. But let people start to believe that God exists, because the way we got our room, Barbara, I would never forget. The way we got our room, it was not human. It was not ordinary. I have to say, because when they closed the I-10 and all the hotels told us, sorry, no room. I left my name with 3 hotels. I said they should please call me for any cancellation.
Yes,
but
and that was Our Lady. You were praying the Rosary, Amal. That's Our Lady. If people only realized.
Because I've been watching on EWTN that the power of the Rosary, and I didn't even know how to say the Rosary a few weeks ago. And,
but you do now, don't you? You do now. Listen, I'm so thankful you called. We're coming up on a break. I'm so thankful. I'm going to pray for you, Amal, and praise God that you're okay. And we'll just keep you in our mind, heart, and prayer. Okay? God bless you, dear heart.
And we want to hear more of your stories. The number's 1-800-585-9396. EWTN's Open Line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan.
Johnette Benkovic.
Did you know that I had been away from the Catholic faith for 10 years? I credit my grandmother's rosary for bringing me back home to our Holy Catholic Church. She had 13 grandchildren and prayed a rosary each day for each one of us. That's 13 rosaries a day. I know that it was Grandma's rosary that tilled the soil of my hardened heart to eventually bring me back to our Lord Jesus Christ, the one who is the way, the truth, and the life.
Women of Grace with Johnette Benkovic, Monday through Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Christ is the answer, with Father John Riccardo.
John chapter 11, verses 21 to 26. This is the story of Lazarus. Lazarus has died. Lazarus is one of his best friends. Just before this passage, we hear the news that Martha and Mary send word to Jesus that the one you love is sick. And the next line in the scripture is, now because Jesus loved Martha and Mary and Lazarus, he stayed where he was. His friend's in need. He can heal. They've seen him heal before. And yet somehow, because he loves him, he stays. And Lazarus dies. And then Jesus shows up 3 days later and is greeted by Martha and Mary, who confront him with the words, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would never have died. Rather applicable for many of us in our lives. We ask the Lord to do one thing because we're certain it is what we think is best, when in fact he has something which far surpasses what we ask for. The challenge is, in waiting for that to happen, we go through very trying times, which oftentimes makes us wonder, does he really care?
If you're currently an EWTN media missionary or just interested in becoming one, we've got some great news. EWTN Media Missionaries has a new and improved website. EWTNmissionaries.com, designed with you in mind. Our new site is loaded with great features and it's easy to navigate. There are so many different ways that you can help EWTN. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
2 hours of Tim Staples tonight. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Catholic Answers Live, Q&A open forum. 2 hours with their head of apologetics and everything else at Catholic Answers Live, Mr. Tim Staples. At 6 o'clock Eastern Time tonight on EWTN Radio. We're talking about the heroic actions of a whole bunch of Catholics that took place during Hurricane Harvey. And we're going to stay right there in Houston, Texas. Listening on Guadalupe Radio is Martin. And I want to say something, first of all, before we get to Martin. Hats off to the Guadalupe Radio affiliate in Houston and their general manager, Joe McClain. Joe, the radio station, station was flooded out pretty early on, and he had the presence of mind to take his remote broadcast unit with him. He kept us abreast here on EWTN Radio nationwide about the events going on in Houston, and then he was actually forced to abandon his home by boat. Had to put his own children, his 8 children, on a boat and his wife and be evacuated from their home by boat, but still kept us abreast of everything going on via telephone. And you got a great radio station there. We hope you support them, Martin. And welcome to the program. Martin, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Oh, my goodness. Hi, Martin.
Hi, how are you, Barbara?
Well, my goodness, I'm doing just fine. But tell us about what you've been through, good man.
Well, hon, there's a lot of people that have suffered here in Houston, I know. But one really stuck in my heart was there was a family trying to escape the floodwaters. They were in a commercial van that has that, metal mesh between the front seat and the back seat.
Yes.
And as they were going across to escape the waters rising, the current caught their van, and the brother that was driving the van tried to, maneuver the van so he could, get out, but he was able to get out himself, but the water swept the van, hon, and he lost his parents, his grandparents, and 4 of his brother's children.
Is this the white van, Martin, that they've been showing on TV that went into a ditch?
Yes. They found it eventually in the ditch, but this poor family was wiped out in just moments, and now it was his brother's family, his brother's kids, but now, they're gone, and I know this poor man's going to go through Survivor's Guild, so just lift this family up in prayer, Barbara.
Of course. Every time I saw that picture, I thought the whole family died. I wasn't sure how it all worked out, but there's a saying, Martin, we don't know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future. And you can punch me, but God will work good out of all this. He will work good out of all this, and but boy, that's a heavy trial. That's a heavy trial. But you're okay. You're okay, Martin. You didn't have anything go underwater?
God blesses me so much, Barbara. I'll never, a measly old rag like me, he blesses me so much. It's amazing.
Wow. Oh, well, God love you, and you have a responsibility, right, to help the others. I'm sure you do, and God bless you, good man. Thanks for the call.
Appreciate the phone call. 1-800-585-9396. We'd love to hear your stories or your reaction to everything that happened in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. We'll stay in Houston. Chris is in Houston. She also listens on Guadalupe Radio. Chris, you're on with Barbara.
Hi, Chris.
Oh, yes. Hi.
How are you doing?
Thank you so much for opening your hearts to us. I just wanted to kind of give you a couple of comments. You had mentioned a cute priest in a kayak.
Yes.
Okay, that's Father David Bergeron. He is one of the companions of the cross at the Catholic Charismatic Center, and he is an avid kayaker. He's out several times a week out kayaking, and he happened to be kayaking out, looking to help people. He had gone out to get some items for his fellow priests also, but he couldn't find any wine because there's a state law. They don't sell liquor, alcoholic beverages before noon.
Well, that's what I heard. That's why I was worried he wouldn't be able to say Mass. But he did find it. Jack thought he found some wine.
Yeah, he probably did. But in any case, he's you were wondering about some of the things that people are doing to help, and of course, people, those of us, and I wasn't affected by the water, except high water, but nothing that came into the house. Mm-hmm. But I really believe God spared so many of us from that, so that we could do precisely that, to go out and help others. And I know our people who have been affected are out helping others too. But one of the things that the Catholic Charismatic Center is doing, of course, they have turned the large foyer into a distribution center. And Father Mark Goring, who is the director of the center, they are forming teams that go out, work teams that go out into the neighborhoods to do whatever needs to be done, clean up or repair work. And in fact, he had announced that there's going to be even a workshop. People who don't know how to do drywall, they're going to be taught to do that. So there's so much happening.
That is a fabulous idea right there.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, really practical.
Teach them how to fish, right? Mother Teresa, if they don't have food, teach them how to fish. I was just thinking, when you were saying that, I was thinking of Mother Teresa at one point. She said you don't hand a man to fish, you teach him how to fish, And so it's smart to teach them the drywall thing. Oh, my goodness, Chris.
But I think, Houston is being very blessed, by all of this, too. There is, like Father Mark in his homily Sunday said, there's no setback. He says setbacks are really set up
for a comeback. For a comeback.
Comeback and for something greater, and I think something great is going to come out of all of this. The churches, Catholic churches, I know St. Vincent de Paul had water come into some of the offices in school. Our Lady of Walsingham had some issues also with their offices. I think there was one beautiful story that a priest told me about Christ the Good Shepherd. They were going to be distributing food. I think it was a Tuesday after the rain. And people were supposed to be coming. They were going to serve a warm meal. And when they saw the number of people that were there, they said, how are we ever going to feed these people? And they were worried about that when suddenly a taco truck pulls up. He said, this priest said, how we were able to feed 1,000 people is beyond me. But, the Lord took care of it.
But see, that we're a religion of grace, Chris. We're a religion of grace. Grace makes all kinds of things happen.
Just a little thing, if I have time. We have beautiful people coming in from all over the United States. The Franciscan friars came in to help,
I know some of them.
Sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're coming in. I'm sorry, I'm getting some beeping on my phone. I think it's a call coming in. But I have to tell you, there's some really outstanding people who are out even rescuing animals who have been abandoned and are suffering too. They've set up, Austin has brought in, animal rescue teams and set up on the west part of Houston to take in animals and transport them out.
And these poor horses that were swimming in this mucky water, and I just saw, oh my goodness, it's an amazing thing.
You know what, Barbara, I'll tell you what, God is so awesome. He carries, I'll tell you what, I'm sitting in my car right now with a turtle. That we found in this horrible mucky muck stuff in Channelview. I'm talking to Harvey the turtle.
Harvey the turtle.
With it. But you know what this reminds me? I mean, this turtle was encrusted like in mud, dry mud, and it would have died. But we took care of that, and I'm taking him to the Wildlife Center right now. But it reminds me of the scripture that, God, has his eye on the sparrow. There's not a sparrow that falls to the ground without God knowing it.
That's it.
And, he's just awesome. And he knows, if he cares for the sparrow and even a little turtle, how much more he cares for those of us, those people who are suffering.
Human life,
of this point too.
Chris, you were just a sweetheart. I thank you so much for calling and giving us an update on this. And I will just keep praying and praying and praying. God is good. And, think about the person that walked in his house with a big alligator in there. Did you see that?
Yes,
his house was
exactly.
underwater, and he walks in, and there's a big alligator in there. I'm going,
Yes,
my
yes,
goodness.
it's very
That would be the coup de grace, yes?
Oh, yeah.
God bless you, dear heart. Thank you
Well, God
so
bless
much
you.
for
Yes,
calling.
yes. Let's stay in prayer. Thank you so much.
All righty.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
The number's 1-800-585-9396. It's toll-free anywhere in North America. We'd love to hear your stories. If you are a survivor or have experienced the wrath of Hurricane Harvey, we'd love to hear your story. Or if you've been touched by some of the coverage that you've seen or some of the episodes that you've witnessed in conjunction with Hurricane Harvey, we'd love to hear those stories as well at 1-800-585-9396. Again, that's toll-free anywhere in the United States and Canada, 1-800-585-9396. You can also call us if you're outside North America. Your number is 1-205-271-2985. That's 1-205-271-2985. You can send us an email, openline at EWTN.com, or you can text your question to Barbara. Text the letters EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response. Text your first name and your question message, and data rates may apply. Are you familiar with Amazon Echo, Barbara?
I am, yes.
It's a virtual personal assistant that allows you to use just your voice to play things. And, we've got a great new radio station that's going to be coming on the air here real soon in Burlington, Vermont. And we had a fundraising event for those folks.
Good place to have it.
Yeah, exactly right. Last February, and Bishop Coyne was gracious enough to come to the fundraiser. And this was, 2 Februaries ago, so a lot of people didn't know about Amazon Echo yet. And Bishop Coyne, was talking about how he had received one as a gift from a family member at Christmas. And he was saying how he can say, Alexa, play sports radio, and Alexa would play the local sports radio station. And he would say, Alexa, play this, and she would play that. And he told the people, I want to be able to say, Alexa, play Catholic radio, and Alexa plays my local EWTN radio affiliate.
Oh!
So it was a great story. He did a much better job with it than I did. But we are available. EWTN radio is available there, and all you have to do is say, Alexa, play EWTN radio, and she will hook you up immediately. So make sure you check out the Amazon Echo today.
Yes. And you know what? Don't we have the family celebration coming up this weekend?
We do. It is this weekend. I'll be there if they want to meet me. That will get people to flock from coast to coast. Flights are booking as we speak to see me, Jack Williams, at the EWTN family celebration.
Why not?
Let me tell
Why
you,
not?
how big is this event, you might ask? This event is so big, I am bumping Barbara McGuigan. How about that on Saturday?
There you go.
Right?
Smart man.
We're doing some live coverage. So from 1 to 3 Eastern time.
Wow.
We will be, it's 1 to 4 Eastern, 12 to 3 Central. We'll bring you all the festivities. You'll hear Father Mitch Pacwa. No, actually, I think you hear Marcus Grodi maybe. But you will hear the family talk, which will involve Michael Warsaw, Doug Keck, and the EWTN family. I think you'll be able to hear Jim Pinto talk about our wonderful media missionary program, and we'll have some guests. Some special guests, and those will include Marcus Grodi. I know Doug Keck, I think, will join us. So it'll be a good time. So if you're not doing anything Saturday afternoon, or you know what, even if you are doing something Saturday afternoon, you need to check us out anyway, right here on EWTN Radio. Back to the phones we go in Houston, Texas. Imagine that, a call from Houston, Texas. Cheeto is also listening on Guadalupe Radio. Cheeto, thanks for the call. You're on with Barbara.
Hi, Cheeto.
Good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Cheeto. I'm from Houston, Texas. I would just like to give a shout out to St. Joseph because he was the one who saved the house from having water get into it. My family has a devotion to St. Joseph. Every Wednesday we recite his litany. And the day one that the water was rising in our street, my wife and I woke up and we decided with our children to get the statue that we have in the altar.
Yes.
And put him on a stand. We tied his legs on that stand, and we had him face the water that was rising.
Yeah.
And we left him for 3 days over there, and we had to evacuate on the last day. And before I boarded the boats that were lent by generous volunteers, I told St. Joseph, "Here it is." St. Augustine said, to pray to you in all undertakings, in all problems, and all difficulties. And we left the house praying to St. Joseph, please, to take care of our house. All we ask of you is to don't let the waters get into the house.
Sure.
2 days after coming from a friend's house who opened their house for us, we returned home. I opened the door, and there was nothing. It was completely dry. And before we did anything, we gathered the family, and in front of the statue of the Immaculate Heart and St. Joseph, we brought him in, and we did say our Magnificat. And thank you so much for sparing our house. And then we prayed for all the other houses that had suffered, and we said, God, thank you, but we still have to pray for our neighbors. About six. A lot of our neighbors has been devastated by the. Shout out to St. Joseph. That's all.
St. Joseph is a rock star. I'm going to tell you right now, St. Joseph is moving all the time, and I can give testimony to that. And,
I love him too so much. He is such a great saint. And you know what this reminded me of? We lived about 20 years ago in a place called Lake Matthews, right? And it was a beautiful place, beautiful area. It wasn't a lake. It was a reservoir in California, right? But anyway, my neighbor comes over to me after we moved in, and she said, Barbara, this place is just teeming with rattlesnakes. You really have to know how to kill rattlesnakes. Let me show you. And so I walked over to her house. I'm serious.
Why do I not have a life-size picture of Barbara McGuigan killing a rattlesnake?
Killing a rattlesnake. My father-in-law even bought me a shotgun, so I could blow his head off. And I said, this is too much for me. I can't do any of these things. And so my neighbor showed me how to take a shovel and just drop it down on the neck of the rattlesnake. Okay, so I thought, who do I pray to about this? St. Patrick. I went and bought a big statue of St. Patrick, and I put the statue in my backyard facing the hills where the rattlesnakes would come down to drink, right, to the reservoir. And I did not see one rattlesnake. We lived there for 9 months, and the next door lady kept seeing them every day. I think they were all going over to her house. She said, I don't know what's happening here, Barbara. Why is this happening? And I said, well, I have St. Patrick. If he can drive the snakes out of Ireland, he can drive them out of my backyard, right?
Absolutely. Cheeto, thanks so much for the phone call. And you know, Barbara, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that in spite of the devastation in Houston, there are hardships, plenty of hardships to go around. And Sylvia is in the great state of Montana listening to EWTN Radio. Sylvia, thanks for holding. You're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. What's happening in your area?
Well, you know, I know the flooding is so horrendous, and so many people are going through such terrible straits, you know, just really bad. Yes. But our state is on fire, and not one national news media has said a word about it.
Goodness.
We've got a news outlet reporter. He says he goes through like 1,500 different outlets a day. He said not one national news report. And we've got going on 100,000 acres of land that have, or more than that, it's more than that, that have been burned. Many towns have been evacuated, and there's some firefighters who have died. And and smoke is so bad that in some areas it's purple. It's hazardous. You do not go outside.
Oh,
and
why would that be, Sylvia?
We need prayer too. You know, and we've got a huge state. We're the fourth largest state in the United States, and it's almost from one end to the other. There are fires.
And you have a lot of wildlife in Montana, yes?
There's a lot of wildlife and cattle. Farmers have lost their ranches. One was on. He lost everything, and he's trying to find his cattle who you know could have perished in the fires. And
so, are there any homes involved in this yet? Or this is
many.
Oh,
like
goodness, I'm
many.
Sorry. Gosh.
And that have burned.
You know, we're kind of used to that. I can relate to that in California because we've had fires very near us. But
reports are over 500,000 acres burned to date.
Wow. So, Sylvia, are you close to this fire? Are you right?
Where I'm not. I live in Black Eagle, Great Falls area.
Okay.
So we're more. We get the smoke. We don't have any fires right by us. There's some like up in where Lincoln. They've closed many roads. Glacier Park. Park. A lot of that is closed. One of the very, very old chalets that a lot of people have used for 100 years burned to the ground. And just, Missoula, it's all around Missoula up there in the mountains, and they can see the flames. And there are just a lot of fires.
Oh, we've got to pray. What's
the
going
grazing
on?
land that they need for the cattle is all burned up. It's very, very, very dry.
So this is
just totally opposite of what
I was going to say, talk about the what you wouldn't give for some of the water in Houston, huh?
Yeah, that's what we were thinking, man, because it's very, very dry.
My goodness, I'm so thankful you called. I didn't hear about this, Jack. Did you?
I had no idea until right now.
No, it's all about the flood.
They were saying get it out on Facebook because it's not national news, evidently, because they don't put it on. So we've been calling for a lot of prayer, and if people don't know we need the prayer, they don't pray, and we definitely need the prayer.
Oh,
well, you know what, Sylvia? Good job out of you for bringing it to our attention.
Yes, dear lady. Well, thank you so much, and know that we will be praying for you because this is serious. Goodness.
Thank you. There's many people have lost their homes in it. So, anyway, I just wanted to let you know.
Boy. Oh, I'm glad you did. Thank you so much for taking the time to call us. We really appreciate it. God bless you. God is involved. He's here.
Yes, He is.
Yes.
I just walked in the house and I had the radio on and I just thought, I'm going to call right now. So I did.
I'm so glad you did, Sylvia. God bless you, dear heart. Thanks
Great job.
for calling.
Thank you, Sylvia. Got a great radio station there, EWTN affiliate in Great Falls, one in Missoula, too. So keep all of those stations in your prayers as well. And we need to mobilize the EWTN prayer warriors to look after those people. The irony is just stark when you think about that situation. And then you just think about the flooded, the overabundance of one place to the next is stark. The contrast is stark.
It's just amazing. I wonder what's going to happen to California here. If anyone deserves an earthquake, it's California. Hopefully, God's not seeing it that way, but my goodness. It's
well, and listen,
really
prayer is very important, but we also, we have a call to help our brothers and sisters when they're in need. And one great way to do that is the Knights of Columbus. They've set up a fund for Houston, and perhaps they'll have a fund for Montana soon. Who knows? But you can make your donations at kofc.org. kofc.org. And the beautiful thing there, Barbara, is that you can trust the Knights of Columbus.
You know what? I was on the website yesterday to make a donation, and that's exactly what I thought. Because sometimes you don't always know if the money's going to go to the people. And that's why I chose to go on that website as well, Jack. So I think it's
Again, the Knights of Columbus, that's kofc.org, and there's a button it's a very prominent. Barbara, I haven't actually been to the site yet.
Yes, it's easy to do.
Made a donation directly to my Knights of Columbus here, but haven't been to the website, so it's very prominent when you get to the site, huh?
It is, and very easy to maneuver. So, yeah.
So we ask that you keep donate what you can for sure to help the effort, and certainly keep all of our friends that are suffering around the world, especially here in the United States, in your prayers, because obviously there are many of them. Barbara, I'll see you next Tuesday.
I hope so.
That's what we're praying for. Keep Barbara McGuigan in your prayers as well, everybody. On behalf of our host, Barbara McGuigan, our producer, Michael McCall, call screener, Matt Gubensky, and our social media maven, Mr. Jeff Burson, I'm Jack Williams. Thanks so much for taking a little time out of your day to join us on Open Line Tuesday. Back at it tomorrow. Father Mitch is in the house. Till we get together then, God bless.